Hail and well met, everyone. It has been a whole fortnight since we last saw you, but here we are back again, playing more D&D as we once more resume Anarions Rest, our Homebrew 5e campaign, DM'd by yours truly. If this is your first time in the chat, welcome. Here at Graham Crackers, we believe in a few simple things, such as we believe in having a good time making memories with friends, whether that is playing video games or playing TTRPGs. We believe that the life-lasting memories and friendships you make while rolling dice is important, and that is what we strive to cultivate. Whether it's new friends or old, all faces are welcome here. But outside of that, we also play MMORPGs, because I'm a big MMORPG nerd. Can't help it. But without further ado, I would love to hear 3 things from my wonderful cast. As usual, I would love to hear who they are, what character they're playing, and usually I throw a curveball and I ask them a weird, inane question. So, let's see. For this week's question, I would like to know if they had a favorite childhood toy. And if so, what was it?
Us or our character?
Your character. So, without further ado, I will pass the mic over to... Drumroll, please.
It's a bad drum roll, but I'll go first since I'm off mute. Hi, I'm Bob. Today I'll be playing Bheldus Stone Song, dwarven bard who happens to be home in the Crystal Caverns. As a child, Bheldus's favorite toy was a wood-carved mountain goat that he named Spandex. Great many adventures were had with Spandex throughout Bheldus's bedroom as he would try to jump from one end of the bed to the other, occasionally to the dresser, sometimes falling. It was riveting moments every step of the way. Who's next?
I can go. Jen, I'm playing Maggie, the Furball Druid, Wildfire Druid. And I think that it's very simple. Like, her favorite childhood toy was a straw doll that she named Baby. And she was very protective of it, and her sister was not allowed to play with it.
All right. Hi, everybody. It's me, Kari. I play Karis, the Tiefling Wizard. And Karis didn't so much have a favorite toy so much as a favorite book. And the book was kept in like meticulous condition and was protected much as Baby was from all comers. Woe be to anyone who touched that book. That was not her.
And hi, I am Mare. I am playing your favorite Artalock, Changeling Artalock, River. And River's favorite toy as a kid was a knife because he didn't have toys. So when he stole his first knife, hell yeah.
What do you have there, River? A knife! No!
Exactly. No, not even a warning, just a nice shank.
Just...
What's that kid have there? It's a knife!
A knife!
Violence was the only thing that Baby River understood.
When you are a child living up on the streets of the fucking Crimson Haven,
you grow up fast.
You grow up real fast.
Alright, well, without further ado, let's get into our recap. Let's see, where was that lovely song that I wanted? There we go. This will be my recap song this week. We'll set a nice, calm, soothing tone. So, last week on Anarions Rest, well, 2 weeks ago, really, but last session, our party was split up in the middle of the Crystal Caverns, with Maggie finding solace in her visiting family, her children, and settling in for the night, Bheldus paying for breakfast and leaving, to go retrace the echoes of his past. Karis, Golaneth, Rue, out hitting the streets, so to speak, in search of mischief. Karis, Rue, and Golaneth decided to look for thieves' cant along the walls and came into a thief hotspot, a marked building in which they broke and entered and discovered a trapdoor leading downwards. The group of them continued down for a while down this rung ladder until, having certain bad experiences with the Underdark loom their vicious and terrible head, so to speak, in the remembrance that there are vampires in the Underdark that do not like our party very much. Hearing about the vampires, Golnath quickly made their way up the ladder, and the party quickly burst out onto the streets, away from this building, only to see two bystanders walking by, to which Golnath threatened their life, and then it was a mad dash back to the tavern, for all three of them. They were able to arrive without being apprehended, so to speak, and promptly fell asleep with no more mischief to be had for the night. Bheldus arrived at the Hall of Echoes and met with two familiar faces that he had not seen in a long time, of the clergy. They put him up for the night, and in the morning sent him back to his party with acolytes bearing goods to bring Maggie's family to safety back by Haven to the caravan itself, to Roswella's in a traveling magnificent mansion. Meanwhile, the rest of the party ate flapjacks, pancakes, all assorted donuts and pastries that you could get for 5 gold worth of breakfast, which was to say quite a lot. At the breakfast table, they discovered several things. First, that Maggie's son is gross. Secondly, that one of her kids has a penchant for robbing and stealing.
Hell yeah, I'm proud of that kid.
There was a little like rogue mentorship starting up with Golnath that Maggie's a little concerned about.
I'm proud of him.
Aren't flapjacks and pancakes the same thing? Maybe, but you know what? Hotcakes are not. So, but the party quickly kind of came together, waking up with some early morning warm brown morning potion and setting about the day. We are going to pick back up with the party having traveled for about 2 hours to say their goodbyes to Maggie's family and then returning to the Crystal Caverns. As the caravan has not left Haven yet, if there are any conversations or any NPCs you would like to have held a conversation with when you get there, let me know right now. Look at that, right when the music ends. Oh, when it really starts. But, oh, so close. Alright, so we are going to pick back up.
We had an opportunity to thank Bheldus for the flapjacks and the donuts, right? That happened.
Oh, yeah, definitely you could have chatted about that on the way. It's like 2 hours walking distance.
Yeah.
Under this 2 hours, Karis has slowly put together like what she's gonna look like for the rest of the day in like pieces of prestidigitation. Like every time you look back, something is slowly different. And she seems to be having a great deal of fun with this. This is part of the sugar rush at play. First, you turn back and her hair and horns are covered with a blood red beanie that has a bunch of bats on it. It's cute. Very cute. Next, you look back and her clothes have changed from last night's clothes to a blood red sort of bubble shaped dress sack thing with little lace cuffs and a lace collar that has like a blood red brooch that also looks like a bat, has little bat wings, and is also covered in bats. Next, there's a mustache and beard for reasons unknown, just like a little curly one that matches her hair. The next few things are some hosiery that looks like spider webs and little buckled shoes that also have the cute little blood red body and then bat wings. And then lastly, but not least, little Magoubliette is covered in what looks like a tiny little sheet with eye holes. He's a ghost with little like ear holes as well.
Every day's Halloween.
Yes. She seems content.
Wonderful. So I believe what we had reached an agreement on was that Bheldus would be leading the party once they resumed back into the Crystal Caverns. So, Bheldus, the floor is yours. Where would you like to lead them?
Well, it's a nice floor. I think I'm going to keep it here for a little bit and just study it and take in its good notes and make plans for a kitchen remodel later in the future.
Bheldus, are you avoiding doing what you need to do? I feel like you're avoiding something right now, and perhaps you should stop avoiding it because we're here.
I could. Hi. Everybody sleep well. Breakfast is great. That's wonderful. But why is Magoogliat in a bag? I don't. I have people who want to meet you, specifically you, Maggie.
Why?
I have people. Technical shedding questions.
Shedding, that's a way to put it. Yes.
Yes. It is. It's weird. Who wants to see some statues?
Are they through here?
They are this way. Yes, and
Woo! And she just like hops, hopping up the stairs.
is this what I'm like when we're drinking?
No, you're a little bit more, less full of bats.
Okay. This is slightly terrifying. I think to witness. This is.
Yeah.
I think Karis likes vampires.
Also sugar, apparently.
Oh, that would do it.
You know,
Oops.
that was. I didn't think about Karis when I did that. Did I?
You know what, though? It's actually a myth that sugar does that to you. But because we have the myth, we get hyper because we've been given permission to be hyper. So this is actually who Karis really is.
That's terrifying.
I think it's wonderful. Though that dress does look like a sack.
Exactly. And you do hear as she's hopping up the stairs and basically like playing a skipping game with the flagstones, like she's doing like hopscotch as she continues forward. You hear like bats, frickin' bats. I love frickin' bats.
There's no
and
way.
Maguglia just follows at a very slow, little floating pace, like with the way that the little sheet billows about his little paws. He seems to float.
No
after
way.
her,
This is the
dignified.
same Karis. No way.
What was in those donuts? I don't know. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So we're gonna go someplace. Karis will be a problem. They like it quiet most of the time. Interesting. Well, it slides, you know. I mean, whatever. People grieve. It happens.
Bats can be quiet. Bats can be quiet.
Exactly. You do hear if there's a mention of being quieter, her little bats, frickin' bats gets very tiny. It's a little tiny whisper.
And the worst comes to worst, she suffers the consequences of her actions.
I'm more
I do
worried
love
if she tries
consequences.
echolocation.
Well, echolocation is quiet, so that works.
Anyway, I will start leading everyone towards the hall of echoes to meet up with. This is what happens when I reorganize my personal notes for school with my notes from games. Everything gets lost. The people I know.
Ah, yes, indeed. The people you know. Which would happen to be Elsgrid Woldfury.
Yes.
And...
Somebody else.
I'm looking for... In my notes now.
Anybody want to know how to do work on their own personal investments? I can find all those cards at the moment.
Gosh, I have so many NPCs listed.
How did I lose this? Because it's like I was tripping all week long. I'm doing homework and I keep tripping over that card with
Hey,
their
you
names
know,
on
it's
it.
okay. It's okay. I'm gonna make up a name until I remember their real name.
That works.
I was
That
in a
works.
game. I was in a game the other week where someone forgot the town that he came from, and so we just renamed it Backstoryville.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's
Works.
A+.
Yeah.
I mean, at least I remember Elsgrid.
Yeah. Elsgrid was.
That was the important one of the two.
Yeah. There was Elsgrid, and then there's Bheldus' old buddy.
Yeah. Not Gianni. Edel?
No, wait. Elsgrid Wood Fury is Bheldus' old buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Gunder.
Yeah.
Gunder is the eldest.
Gunder.
Yes. That's. I slept last night. I promise.
All right. So, do you want to describe, or would you like me to describe the Hall of Echoes as you bring the party over to them?
You did a much better description of it than I ever did, so I'll let you go with it.
Sure. So, as you are led down the 3 layers of the crystal caverns down to the bottommost layer, you are pulled far to the right of the city, deeper into the depths of the crystal caverns itself. There before you is this chapel almost. It is set, carved into the stone. There's a large sub-cavern to the right of it that is covered by this kind of misty sheen of a waterfall that is probably maybe like an inch thick of water. And there's like a stone path that kind of goes in between the waterfall and the sub-cavern that it looks like people can walk on. There is side houses carved in of like modest stone in the far left along the like cavern wall when you first enter that seems to house the staff and visitors. You see acolytes dressed in these stone gray wool habits, wearing nothing on their feet, walking almost silently along the stone surface. They all have this band of copper around their fingers, and they seem to be ushering some people in and out. As you approach, you see one of the brothers dressed in a habit have like this, almost like a spear, but is more like a Shaolin spade. Like the back end is this blade, the front end is kind of like a blunt tip, and they lift over their head into the waterfall to create this V and cascade that kind of reveals the stone passageway. There's 2 young dwarves, probably what you would attribute late teens, at least dwarven age-wise. They're probably 80, but their faces are struck with the expression of grief as they follow this dwarf, and for the briefest of seconds you see, actually I don't think you see, because you guys can only see 120 feet with dark vision, so I think you see them enter and then disappear as soon as they have kind of passed through the waterfall. The water drops to create that sheen, and you can only see like their silhouettes walking further away.
Are those children okay? I whispered that, but I don't want to whisper.
I whispered return. I'm not certain on that one. Did I recognize what they were possibly doing?
So
Did
your
it look
time
like it was a
working with
ritual thing, or
them, they're definitely going to the Hall of Echoes.
they're just
Probably
okay.
not a happy event
Okay.
in
Okay.
your experience.
Okay. My guess is they're probably visiting a new edition.
Graham,
Yes.
I will have cast dark vision on myself. I don't think if there's anyone else in the party who needs it, but I'll take that spot and cast dark.
Yeah, okay. I was supposed to say, I think Karis, I think Bheldus, Golaneth, Rue, I think is the only one that... Nope, Rue is a Twilight Cleric, they have it.
And I have an
Yeah, you get that whole
warlock
site.
thing.
Yeah.
Just me.
Just yeah.
Yeah, Karis has sort of like skipped to the other side of Bheldus and is like, this is a church. This feels like a church.
Treat it like a church. Yeah.
There's death in the air.
I like their shoelaces.
It's
and
not
then she
really
just sort of like
death.
drifts away.
but it's definitely not as much living as we'd like.
Do you move? Do you do anything? It might as well be death.
Well, okay, that is up for a great debate at lengthy extent. But we
You're
have things to
right.
take care
Actually,
of
the
first.
victims of petrification, and then like Karis goes into an entire thing about the intricacies of the difference, like physically between petrification and like being stone as opposed to being dead, and what that like means on a magical and intrinsic level. It's way more theory and like.
Yeah.
Maggie, have you ever thought about
Academic.
having like an
Tune you
in-home
out.
tutor? Because I think Karis would be wonderful for this job.
Oh,
I'm not sure that my children have the attention span for that.
Okay.
Theory or not, if you don't move, you don't do anything, you might as well be dead.
Well,
Fascinating debate, but a debate nonetheless.
No, I'm not debating this.
anyway.
She wasn't either. She just sort of skipped to the other side of the cavern.
I'm not
So-
sure how we got to this subject.
Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna. I mean, I don't have the fancy stops. Hopefully, somebody opens the waterfall for us. Otherwise, get wet a little bit. Shoes off once we get there. Keep it quiet. Just try to keep the clinkety clankities down. Quickly look at River because I forget what armor River's wearing, but I thought it went clinkety clank.
I think I have a medium armor, something along those lines.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So
It doesn't matter. I have a metal dog, so there's gonna be clankety.
that's true. So, whatever. Try not to be rude.
Is there, Bheldus, any expected bowing or kneeling or anything like that? To
For you, no,
icons or
not
idols?
one bit.
All right,
No,
just
no.
making sure.
No,
Thank you.
none at all. None at all. Now, if Golineth was here, I'd tell you something different, but no.
I wear scale mail.
Yep. So you go chinkity chink. Gotcha.
Yes.
Not clank chink.
There definitely would be places that you can kind of have your armor held for you if you would like.
Right.
Yeah. Well, you're all looking at me and
silly
you're like,
question.
nice try, Graham. Nice try. We go to our
Karis
parties
does.
with scale mail under our vestments.
Karis does a fun move where she just kicks her feet up and it looks like her shoes go up, but then they never come down. So she's just now sort of barefoot, doing little tap dance moves as she sort of waits near the waterfall. She's wiggling.
As you approach the waterfall, one of the acolytes will kind of like who's been like side-eyeing you all. You're kind of a weird bunch to begin with, but also not a lot of non-dwarves visit. And they spot Bheldus, who had been here the previous night, and they point a finger at Bheldus. And you see their mouth moving. They're maybe like 60 feet away. And Bheldus, you would hear in your ear, "Do you need access?"
Point back. Yes, please. We have business with Gunder and Elsgrid.
One moment. And they kind of move over to their side. I like to think they were like maybe sitting cross-legged on the stone, and they kind of just pull up their staff, and they walk over to you all and extend the staff and kind of lift the waterfall up. The staffs are bigger than a normal spear. Like, these things are big enough that they could probably lift it and still hold the waterfall, so a large creature mechanically could like get through without getting wet. And they hold it open and eye you all, and they kind of with their left hand like motion for you to enter.
I just sort of awkwardly duck because almost definitely the opening isn't quite tall enough for me, and there's just sort of like an apologetic, like holding my thank you.
Wait for everyone else to go ahead.
Karis just skipped through silently now that she has no shoes.
Yeah, you get that wet paddling sound on like the stone. It's like slap, 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 slap.
Is the removing shoes mandatory?
No. Just courteous.
Yeah, I'm not getting wet. I'm continuing on.
All right.
Yeah, again, and not really taking the sightseeing tour on this one right here because I'm just going to go kind of straight towards where I wherever I agreed to meet up with them earlier.
Yeah.
Their office?
Yes, the office. So, you head towards the main office. This is like the higher clergy office in comparison to where you had spotted them earlier last night. This is very much a building made out of solid crystal. It is this almost ruby-hued building that seems to have jagged spikes that pop out as if stalactites had fallen to form the building itself. And the dwarves just happen to be like a hermit crab.
This is beautiful.
As
It
you
is.
enter, the sub-cavern is taller than any tree or building you have ever seen. It reaches hundreds of feet far beyond your vision. The roof itself glitters with blue and teal, and the glittering of numerous crystals off the bioluminescent light that kind of shines down all along the walls. On the far cavern walls, you see a small door carved that forms a kind of gateway. There are two stone doors that have kind of shut that off at the moment. Bheldus, you would know what lies beyond those doors.
Oh. Yeah. Quick warning. One of them is advanced in the condition. So there's not that many rock jokes you can make about a person, but just, try not to if you think of any.
Hey, could I suggest, Karis, perhaps you can educate us later if anything comes to mind, rather than in the presence of this person with an advanced condition. I don't mean to be, rude or presumptuous. I'm very interested in what you have to say, but perhaps after.
I mean, if they ask me a question, I'm going to answer it.
Just maybe
Unsolicited lectures.
Yeah. I would
I'd
be happy to hear them later.
Unsolicited lecture, and with that, she simply moves forward.
Okay.
Self-awareness.
Yeah.
Her definition of solicitation is very broad.
Even I'm not that callous. So
Yeah.
I'll shut my mouth.
Yay. Rue, I'm looking at you. Mind the tongue.
Oh, well, of course. I'll be minding my manners, crossing my I's, dotting my T's.
You do that too well, Graham.
I know, it's killing me. I love it so much.
Yeah, well, since Karis is already skipping their way in, I'll go.
Actually,
She doesn't enter. She just always stops at the door whenever anyone's going. She just goes ahead and just sort of waits there.
and I think Maggie, for just a very second, will reach her hand down and put it on Bheldus' shoulder, and just be like, "Are you okay?"
I just got back here yesterday, and I'm currently talking to people about you, and this is just there's a lot going on in a very compressed amount of time. It's yeah.
Yeah, if you need to uncompress it at some point, just
You know what? We're gonna get through this, and we're gonna see what the next step is after that, and hopefully.
Yeah, so instead of the compressing even more and like turning it into like crystals like in your heart, uncompress later.
No, I'm like, yeah, no, this just. Hi, I'm home. This is where I went to school.
Wonderful. I'll stop now. Okay, let's. I didn't mean to make it. I didn't mean to. Just we're gonna go. We're gonna go. Let's go ahead. Yeah, we're good.
Come on. And yes, let's go on in and somebody at the door.
Yeah, so you arrive at the door. The door itself are made of almost like these transparent sheets of gemstone, like maybe like a quartz or something. that have been hewed to such a thin degree that you can actually see the silhouettes of people inside. A lot harder than glass, but a acolyte kind of comes to the door and opens it. They look at you, then their eyes kind of direct over towards Maggie. They have these striking blue eyes. Their hair is tonsured, and it's like this red, what's left of it. And they offer you a nod. Oh, it is, good to see you all, I suppose. I was told you were going to visit, and here you are. Sorry, talking out loud, it's a little weird to hear my own voice. Follow me. And they kind of lead you all in. The building itself, as you enter, has coats and raiments and habits kind of all on like clothes hangers. Very modern. And there's artwork that's both carved into the gemstone itself, but also these elaborate paintings and ornaments that seem to have been crafted by dwarven masters of their crafts over the years. There is a altar on the far side of the building that doesn't look like it's dedicated to any one god. It has a symbol that is almost a Morpheus of all the dwarven pantheon that's just been set there, and there's kind of like a pewter bowl with small donations of gemstones and coins resting. You were ushered in. There's stairs heading up to a second layer of the gemstone itself, and you are kind of pulled into this parlor room. The parlor...
As we're walking through this area, it almost like messes with perspective, that Maggie shrinks herself down to 4 feet, in part to be at face level with this amazing art, and also just out of a sense of politeness.
Duly noted. So much for my ceiling traps, I guess. Maybe next time.
All those clothesline wires we've before are now thwarted. Ugh.
Oh, darn. They usher you into this parlor. The parlor is covered with like rugs. There's actually, the walls of the parlor is not made of gemstone. It is all made of stone itself, as if someone through magical means pulled the stone in to mold this very room. The furniture is cushioned, and I would say it's more elaborately cushioned than you would see in the Assyrian Empire or in a noble house. This isn't ornamental furnishing of like pillows and lavish comforts. It is a acclimation to the illness, to provide comfort for people, to alleviate weight. In a far chair amongst pillows, there is a old dwarf. Their beard is probably for the first time in a while well oiled and rebraided. Their arm is in a sling, and you can see up until like this portion of the hand, it is all stone. One of their legs looks very clearly from the knee down. It is not functional. And they kind of sit there. They have this warm, grandfatherly smile. If there is any discomfort or pain to their illness, they are not showing it. To their right, there is a brown-haired younger dwarf, about Bheldus' age. They are dressed in ceremonial, almost, scale mail and chainmail that seems to be interlaced with gemstones, and they have the sigil for the halls emblazoned in like a pin, and they're kind of wearing like this black velvet cloak. On their hip is a single mace that seems to be like, it has like a ring that's just tied around their belt. Oh, yeah, so nice to see you. Come in. I hope you don't mind that I don't get up to, escort you to your seats.
Certainly not. It's fine. Stay where you're at.
Wonderful.
Grandmaster Gundor, this is Maggie of the Honeywood. We'll go with that.
Sure, that's fine. That's okay.
And she is the one I spoke of last night. With us is Karis and their companion Magugliat, River. Golineth seems to have taken his leave.
I think Golineth is like in the back of the room.
Okay.
I think he's he's
hiding in the
posted
back.
up.
Yes.
You lead in.
Yeah.
And Rue.
It's so wonderful to meet you all from such far off lands. It was never my gift to travel. The wanderlust never took me far beyond the caverns, but I've heard quite many tale. And he drifts his gaze. His eyes are like this stone cold gray. And he kind of drifts over the group of you. So, how much has Mr. Stonesong told you?
Almost nothing.
Very good at dodging questions.
That's fair.
Some solemn
Yes.
nods of here from Karis as she strokes her own beard.
I'm sorry, you're just a little avoidant. That's all I'm saying. You're just a
You
little...
know what? It's been hard to talk about things since I started coming home. Anyway.
Yes, okay.
Well, would you like to or me?
So, I suppose. Stand up. Oh, from the beginning? From the beginning. I don't have that note there. Okay. Ages of us ago, we lived elsewhere. In a kingdom far off. Actually, briefly mentioned it before at the funeral for the Leoman. Anyhow, and then a great darkness descended upon us, which I have new thoughts on from recent experiences. But at the time, we took it as a dragon of pure shadow and death, and drove us from our, didn't drive us from our homes. Some escaped, most didn't.
Mhm.
Those that escaped and survived are the ones who reside here now, and those that didn't pass to our knowledge, and potentially in their final breath curse those who fled, which is what we sort of believe is happening.
That your people that perished cursed you?
Well, yes, in the short version, sure. And then I kind of turned towards Gunder on this one here. And then it was recently when we were in the Pona Blaine and the dark mist chased us for days. And that a walking version of death itself crept across the land in the night. And then meeting up with Maggie's when I started to realize that there had to be a little bit more to it than the tales of old that we would tell and share. And for us that live here, we will. Some of you may have noticed some of the statues out front. That expert craftsmanship. They were not crafted. Those were. Those are
People.
our elders. Um, and it is a fate that falls many of us here. I know I'm
Universally,
being very broad on this one here.
yeah, as usual.
Yeah.
Universally or only some?
The vast majority. Um, death may be a sweet release to some, and unfortunately avoided by many. No one's died of old age in a very long time.
I see.
Uh, it's
Does
all
it
but certain.
happen? Does it happen more to the aged, or does it hit at any age?
Um, that I'm not certain of. Although stories I heard very recently tell me that it's hitting younger than it has before.
Same with my people. And to Gunder, my people have similar stories, though, of course, with our own details or lack thereof, and a somewhat similar affliction that, for us at least, started on the elderly specifically, and then younger and younger as well. But not stone, just kind of wasting away.
I see. Well, he motions to Elsgrid, who goes to the door that you all entered in and shuts it. And you visibly hear them mutter a prayer. And you hear nothing from outside the door. Well, it is true, Bheldus, that the curse is setting in much earlier than it ever has in the past centuries. There are children turning to stone in their mother's arms. The old, the fit, the vulnerable.
I feel it as well.
I fear that the time of the Crystal Caverns is quickly coming to a close.
I don't think that I don't mean to speak for you, Veldus, but I don't think we'll let that happen.
We have apologies, but we have theories. And the more I hear both together, I have theories.
Karis is the one I spoke of as well, who seems to, well, you'll find out quickly. But I think there's a resource to be had here. And I think access to our history made available would maybe shed light on things that we know to be true or that we now fear to be connected.
Of course, Maggie, if I may, he looks at you. What, are there any outward showings of what affects your people?
She unbuttons her sleeve and rolls it up to show the patch on her arm, which is probably a bit bigger than when Bheldus first was shown it. We first lose our fur and then our strength, and slowly our lives. Another outward sign that's probably not exactly what you mean, but in every instance that I have seen, there has been, for my people, the death of or disappearance of our bees, which are our source of income sustaining us, and also extremism, people who become dictatorial or cruel, that I always interpret it as being in response to the illness, but perhaps co-occurs with it from the same source. Have you seen anything like that? A loss of something precious to your sustenance, or some movement or leader who is motivated by cruelty? We think they might all be related.
He purses his lips for a moment, and he kind of closes his eyes as if thinking. And this is a elderly dwarf who has probably been around for 3 centuries, if not more. And after a moment, well, funny. It's so funny. I remember an elf from Deldwinen visited long ago. A rather strange individual. Their magics came from the very earth we stand upon. But they claimed that bees were a direct representation of life, in that they are one of the few creatures that gives, nurtures, and flourishes not only its own hive, but that around it.
Mm-hmm.
They also said that cruelty is not the nature of man, woman, or beast. It is a sickness that we have been fighting to cure for as long as time has existed. It is not uncommon for those who wish to harm, hurt, or manipulate others to come into power. It has happened time and time again, and ultimately, power is returned to the weak. I cannot say that we have had a cruel king, or that we have had a negative experience in our rulership. But what I can say is, for the dwarves, the stories of our ancestors, of our homes and our halls, are as very precious to us as the bees that are as precious to you and your clan. And though we have established the Crystal Caverns, it is not our home. That was stolen away long ago. The tales, the stories, where we come from, even some of our gods, are long, long gone from our memories.
Loss upon loss. Bheldus, are you on a mission to reclaim those memories? Is that why you were away from your people?
I was out making sure the memories we were spread and were told and will remain. I had 2 choices in life. One were to stay here and to honor the memories of those who had passed. I chose instead to go out and make sure that the others who would never hear of us had a chance. And then life, love, alcohol, and a lot of other good things happened on the way. But
You really just skipped over the alcohol word in that. Like, you just slid right over that. Did hear it. Were you successful?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my lord, there's I have few gifts compared to so many others, but what I have is telling a good story. And there's plenty of bars and campfires and other travelers on the way who've heard plenty of good stories about all of our times here and the things we've accomplished. On that note, establishing a gift shop out front saying welcome to the Crystal Caverns t-shirts, marketing idea, just saying.
Elsgrid looks at you, Bheldus, for a moment. And they've been silent for this entire time. What did you say about Death Walking?
Well, it was tall. It left nothing alive in its path, including the grasses. It sucked the essence out of a campsite a distance from us. It seemed driven. It seemed purpose-minded. And it scared the crap out of me.
Did the rest of you see it too?
Yes. They are called Nightwalkers.
Big ass motherfucker.
And Karis has her book out, and she'd been like staring at it and thinking deeply and like flipping a few things as people talk. And at this, she holds up and folds out a beautiful, if scale, representation of a Nightwalker standing in its hunched, creepy, gangly form with the glowing white, empty sockets of its eyes over essentially like a plain or a field. Just this like blot of blacking inkiness on the page. They're scribbling in writings of like what they are, what they do, you know, notes and such that probably they could read, but you know, it's a little messy.
And they are connected in some way to something called the essence of undeath, which in turn we believe is connected in some way to both my affliction and yours.
Small correction. Not just undeath, but the malevolence.
Oh yes, in addition to whatever this substance is, this essence, that one could put in a bottle, there is the malevolence, which has, as far as we know, no physical form, but merely exists. Is that correct, Karis?
It exists.
Should I ask for
its physical form is more an inference of things that it causes, things you've already mentioned. Decay, death, a rise in unnatural cruelty and disregard for life and others. My working theory is that both of these conditions, both of you are currently suffering, are tied to an overall increase in malevolence in the world at large. And with that, she just sort of like collapses the thing and like concludes and just sort of sits back down. She's like clearly compressing herself.
Yeah, that was very concise. That was excellent. That was very, you just, that's a good job.
See, there's no way I just randomly stumbled across these two people. Not one way. No, this was never a coincidence. I can't believe that for 1 second, which is why we're having the conversation.
So, if the problem is people being unkind, I don't see en masse a way to rectify that. Other than the simple kindness you can issue and show to others yourself in your daily actions.
My dearest apologies, but it's not quite that. Something is causing the unkindness, as you stated. There's a source that is leaking excess essence of malevolence into the world. There is a sharp increase in the amount of bad, and it is affecting all, or at least a significant portion of sensitive life forms. And if it continues at this current pace, logically speaking, more entities will begin to show symptoms. She points at River Rue herself. Any of us, the elves, potentially might already be being hit. They're also closely tied to the earth, much as both of your people are in different ways. We just simply haven't come across it yet. The Leonin and their problems within their tribes and the problems on the plane of bones are also deeply linked to the rise in malevolence, the cursing of their sacred objects. That mirror and where it leads may potentially be a source of the malevolence leaking into the world. But I am almost certain the cause is the malevolence, but the source is still something we have yet to discover.
What kind of mirror? Bheldus, you didn't mention a mirror.
There was a lot.
Oh, Leonin. Oh, the first arc of this campaign!
We had
Harris
a
is like,
quick
"Would you like me?"
conversation in the middle of the night.
Would you like me? May I, please?
Yes, please.
Delightful. And so she once again pulls out the book, except this time she also takes something from a pocket, flicks out, is now a pointer, and as she sort of waves it at the book, it sort of comes live into like an entire chart and like diagrams as she proceeds to meticulously lead the way through the beginning with the Wainwrights and the suspicious corpses, the condensed version of the Leonin, their problems within their clan, pointing out that clearly malevolence manifesting as infighting and civil unrest, further than exacerbated by these relics, the tainted daggers, and their previous use, and then the mirrors that they were told about the Leonin. She does notably not talk about how she has some of the mirror here with her at this second. Nor does she mention that some of it has disappeared and also produced interesting sensation while on her person. She does not mention any of that. But then she further connects the rest of the dots, like the essence from Maggie's friend, and how recreating it is missing a piece, but again, it is an essence of undeath, and again is attached to the Wainwrights and the weird mirrors, and then sort of concludes as like, any questions?
I'm imagining like in those detective shows with like the boards attached by string.
Like full on. The nerd got to nerd out and just fully explain.
Yeah. This is their final project for the semester. But they started
Basically,
prep
it's
3 months
has
early
been
than
basically
class.
building a dissertation around
Yes.
the malevolence at this point.
The Wainwrights. Well, they have an outlet in town. Yes. As for this mirror, I've got to roll a check real quick. I did the. You know what? I'm gonna help. I'm gonna throw you guys a bone. Let's roll. Oh, okay. Bheldus,
Yes.
you see the color drain. What little remains from this dwarf's face at the mention of the mirror. If you'd be so kind, could you escort your friends to see what fate befalls us? There is something I must check on.
Absolutely.
I shall fetch you. I will have someone fetch you when I'm ready.
Yes. Without question. Stand up. Let's go find Reginald.
The flick of her wrist, the pointer, and her book are now clasped and tucked away.
Elsgrid helps up Gunder out of their seat, and you see a nod, but you don't hear words.
Before you go,
Yes.
I don't know if we left out. The mirror has some capacity to reproduce or recreate a person, yourself, and a memory. It has some connection to seeing oneself and experiencing memory.
Are any of you familiar with what the original purpose of those mirrors were?
Did the
What's they
Leonin
are?
tell us?
They did. They told us, but I can't remember.
Okay,
They
what
told
said,
them
but I know
what
told
they
us.
thought they were.
That's true.
Karis provides that
Yeah,
information.
that basically they said that you could move around at long distances through the planes, but during the cataclysm, the planes moved distances, and because so, most of the mirrors don't work, and were defunct. That was exactly word for word what they told you.
Yeah.
Ah, yes, a bit... Well, a bit, simple. They can do so much more than simply move around between the material plane. At one point, it was speculated that these mirrors connected to other worlds, other possibilities, other realities, if you will.
Might it also connect to the past? Because when I broke it, it showed me a memory of my own. If it has the ability to do that for me on an individual scale, could it not for your people on a much larger scale?
Potentially. I know of but one mirror still in existence in the Crystal Caverns. Out of all the gold, the master craftsmanship, the weapons of old that we could have carried, this mirror was one of the few things we brought with us. Why, I never knew. It has sat dormant for centuries. Nothing coming in or out. No past, future, present being shown at all in its surface.
Quick question.
Sure.
So Karis last time did roll an investigation check on like her own personal dream interpretation she had also been doing on that walk, which was a 26.
Sure. You're right.
And it was connected to the mirrors. I feel
Do you
this
want,
might be
for our
something I
audience,
want
do you
to
want
know.
to say what your dream was?
Alright, so the secret dream, which she has not revealed to anyone, is she dreamed of mirrors, silver and gold, with quicksilver faces, all spilling around her, pieces, and many of them with like an ominous feeling. She saw flickers of things and people and places, but nothing distinct. Just lots and lots of mirrors.
That's fair. Alright. With the 26 investigation. Almost too coincidental to not mean something. But also, with your experience with the mirror the other night, not also unreasonable that you would have a hint of trepidation around the mirrors and what you have seen in the mirrors in the only time you encountered a functioning one. Whether this is a premonition or a dream for interpretation, I think at this point it is a battle of faith. Would it be faith or would it be raw knowledge and be an analysis is what is competing here. Is something bigger than me trying to tell me something, or is this my own trauma and my brain just reprocessing? How would Karis interpret it?
Living in a place where the gods are not a theoretical possibility, but something that do act on the world in unpredictable ways. I feel like she's approaching the faith-based possible interpretation as equally valid. Yeah, as equally valid as, yes, this could be a trauma response, but it is equally possible that one of the entities I choose not to recognize is trying to tell me something of a sort, and I have not yet gotten enough evidence for one or the other to be eliminated. We're trying to approach that Occam's razor of which is the more sensible explanation.
Yep, there's the qualm of being a high intelligence character. So I will give you this. From your studies in divination, which you admittedly slept through, most of them, per last episode, it is entirely possible that the ominous feeling and the swirling of mirrors and of things that you couldn't quite place, if these were swirling, it could be a unpredictable outcome. It is not yet determined positive or negative. The mirrors themselves are probably the implement. They are whatever focus of this event is supposed to be. Persons, places, things that you haven't seen or don't recognize could mean a lot of things. It could mean that there are a lot of undecided factors that are weighing into an upcoming choice that you don't have the pieces for. Alternatively, I'll give you something for the more intelligent side of things. That mirror shard slipping into your skin could be causing this. You could be, potentially worst case scenario, merging with a magical item that is using you to its own ends. That is a worst case scenario. Best case scenario, this is latent magic energy that is still resting within the shards of the shattered mirror. And while they are destroyed, their function is no longer being able to be met. They may be having some unpredicted side effects of being on your person for a long amount of time. Or dreams just be crazy, yo.
Yo.
Like,
Yeah,
dreams.
so like as this discussion, there is that 1,000-yard stare on Karis with her cute little mustache face. She's like staring at a wall, just sort of really intently as like folks are talking around as we're sort of like deciding to go forward. And maybe at some point someone says her name, she's like, yeah, what? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wasn't thinking. And like trying to sort of like brush it off or like maybe not think about that time where she just strongly disassociated for a moment. But yeah, okay.
Is that super unusual for her? Or does she get into her own train of thought pretty frequently?
To be fair, most of the other times you've noticed this happen, it's not super often, but it's usually when she is also figuring out things and it's basically a train of oh no, oh no, oh no, no,
Got
no,
it.
no, no.
Got it.
So you have interrupted this before. You've seen the look on her face before, and many times before she said, no, don't worry about it. I just brushed past it for a bit until it came to the point where it was really, really necessary. So I would say you guys have seen her do this enough that you might recognize this.
Got it. Karis and Bheldus, peas in a pod when it comes to this kind of
Avoidance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's my action every turn? Dodge. Emotional dodge.
Well, I'll send someone for you, and Elsgrid and Gunder begin to set towards the door. With a very direct route.
I knew bringing you guys would be beneficial to something. Who wants to go meet Reginald?
Whoever that is.
Like we're not beneficial all the time. But who's Reginald?
I'll show you. Old teacher. And I will lead them out towards more of the more of the student center of the halls, and we're gonna look for Reginald, who is a statue.
Yep. So the side, so you would know this. The side doors that were on the far side that were locked, or not locked, but closed, that is where everyone ends up.
Yep.
So you head that way. Let me get some nice hurtful music going.
Only a DM would say such a thing.
Oh.
Nice, hurtful music.
Don't worry, I have a super special one for when you meet your parents. Don't worry about it.
Oh, goody. Emotional shield cast. Of all the parts of my body, why hasn't my heart turned to stone first?
All right. You enter.
Karis, haha, I know, right? Fist bump.
The four of you enter this room. The bioluminescent like mold and mushrooms and lichen up above, glittering down below you as you reach these two doors, which give way almost silently despite their weight. The room in front of you is larger than any of you could imagine. It is halls upon halls upon halls, as far as your eyes can see, of statues. Each one with their hand folded like this in front of them. All stone. Some of the expressions on the ones closest to you are pained, some regretful, sorrowful, some at peace. Each one of them are wearing clothes that looks to have turned to stone with them. The hull itself is lit with torches that seem to be glowing this bright red lighting. There are probably like you can see over 100 torches that are just forming a walking line down the center of the statues. And far to the left, you hear the sounds of those two teenager dwarves crying. Bheldus, you begin to slowly make your way. I think you know exactly where Reginald is.
Hoping they haven't moved him.
I don't think they have.
So, Bheldus starts leading everybody, not necessarily down the main path, but takes the side path and starts leading towards the back, towards a deeper part. Yes, welcome to my future. Our standing testimony to the times and the eternities ahead. Yes. It's a little depressing at times, I can't lie.
A little?
Yeah, anyway. But
can everyone give me a perception check?
do I have my shield with me?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, great advantage, even the same number.
Hey, you all have crits on the board.
Yeah,
15.
well, 15.
15.
I'll take a crit on this.
For a total of 27? 28?
Well, I rolled a 2. I have +9.
Okay, so a 29 with a crit. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I have +9, and I guess yes, it's
Yeah.
29.
Karis?
For what are we rolling?
Perception.
Perception. Great. Fantastic. I think that's accurate to her if she was not paying any. Let's see what we can get here. Okay, let's see. 12 plus. Yeah, that's a 14.
14. All right. Bheldus, River, Karis, you hear wind traveling through the statues, brushing through over them from, probably funneled from miles above the caverns to where the air is fresh. It forms almost this cacophony of whispers as it collides with each statue, with these chimes of crystal forming this tinkling musical sound as it passes by. Maggie, as this wind is passing by, you kind of intuitively close your eyes to listen. You hear a chorus of voices. I don't want to go. I won't leave you for long. I'll be back. We'll see each other again one day. It's not going to get me. It won't! Off each statue, you hear this final sentiment as the wind pushes through. And it's gone.
They say on those breezes, you can sometimes hear the echoes of the past.
Eris looks distinctly uncomfortable, like further uncomfortable and extremely pale. She's just like bundled up like this. So much so that like Magubliet's even being like nice to her and like weaving around her feet in like little figure eights.
They, to a person, did not leave in peace, but fighting their fate.
Many do.
I don't mean that as a criticism. I deeply respect that.
There is no criticism to be had in that. It is the truth. Some go willingly. Some don't believe it'll happen. Some try to fight it. Others go out and try to find a way to avoid it. But go further in. We get to an area that is, I mean, a little sparse in the packing, per se. This is what Bheldus will start to explain. So this is where, when we come to learn to care, where they start us. This is one of the earlier resting points before, well, they say before we realize how severe it was going to be. But Bheldus will walk up to us, one statue who was, their hand is in the same position as all the others, wearing some long robes, has a book tied off to their side. There's a little kind of a flopped hat that goes with it as well. That's, you know, all stone as well. And this is Sir Reginald, professor, I've been told and taught, and will listen to any problem you have that you wish to talk about from the day. As an excellent listener. How you been, Reg? Great. Just kind of look around quick. You find the weirdest places to unwind after a day, and this is where I came a lot.
You knew him in life?
No, never met him at all. There was just I don't even know how I got down here the first time. I mean, you know, there was a bit of go over here and, you know, clean stuff, kind of the tradition as we keep. You may notice how well it's we take care. We remember.
Mm-hmm.
And we preserve for those who come to visit. And on the off chance that maybe that some of them come back. But no, this is Reginald here. Was told a professor, scholar, teacher of some type. I wasn't good in class, but kind of take out a rag quick and clean off the hat a little bit. There just seems a little bit dust building up. You know, sometimes ones that don't talk back give the best advice. I came here a lot. This is where I started to play. When I pull out the flute, just hold it for a moment there. There was a lot of lessons in class about our history, about our care for those that stand before us, about everything that was expected to do. And Reginald here is, to that later, is one of the ones that basically gave me the advice not to stay. It was good advice. I have stories for you. We'll tell them later. I have other people first. You're not going anywhere, so I'll be back. I'm not being rude, you know. Anyway, this was, I don't know. This was SS Bot. And with this, I'm going to just kind of go to say something, stop myself, bring the flute up, and I'm just going to start doing the Whispers of the Wind. Whatever that is.
Sure. Is it a song that you made yourself, or is it a song that you heard?
It is a song that I've heard.
Okay.
Some village out in the grasslands.
And what is the tone of the Song of Wind? Is it hopeful? Is it somber? Is it tragic? Is it happy?
It's mostly happy. It is a song of spring.
Okay,
The spring winds coming with the warming air.
I have 2 questions when you have a set, Graham.
Sure. Hit me with them now while I change the music.
The first is, do the voices change on the wind as the music enters the cavern?
Okay. I will say, as the music echoes, this is a large cavern. It echoes, and the music can be heard playing on the wind, almost as if the wind itself is matching it to a degree. The voices that you heard in the wind previously fade out. They are still there. There are men, women, children of all ages. Their voices stop for a moment and listen as the flute begins to play. Bheldus, can I get a performance check? I think that might be the second time I've made you roll performance this entire campaign.
You can, and I'm not going to roll. I'm burning a crit for this.
All right, total.
Hell yeah.
Total is 28.
28. The voices stop to listen for a moment, and the wind in the cavern almost ceases. And where it picks up once more is when Bheldus takes a breath to breathe in between flute notes. Will you save us? Is the only voice you hear, but it is thousands of people speaking it at once.
And my second question is, can I distinguish Reginald's voice before they change, since they're all saying the same thing at the end? But
roll me a name what stat you think would be a fair.
I mean,
Because
perception.
I could see.
'Cause
Okay,
I'm trying to distinguish a sound from another sound.
that's fair.
So.
All right.
Ooh, that's a 27. Wait, yes, 27. I can add.
Yeah. You hear a voice that you think matches the expression and the visage of Reginald. I think if you close your mind and you hear just that singular voice, you'd be like, oh, this is definitely the guy. Will you save us?
I'll be quiet until Bheldus is done.
Quick question,
Sure.
Graham. When are we planning our break?
We can go to break in 2 minutes. I was just going to finish up this small scene, then...
Sounds great.
Good break.
Perfect. Okay. So yes, at some point the song comes to an end.
I mean, I guess we'll just take our break now, and then you can have that discussion. How does that sound?
That sounds reasonable.
All right, so we are going to take a 15-minute break, and then we will be back. So get some water, get some snacks. You know, maybe do some jumping jacks. If you like rhymes.
Look at
That's
rhymes!
what I got. But we'll be back shortly, so don't go anywhere, or else I'll cry. And you
Don't
don't
make
want
Graham
that.
cry. No,
No,
don't make
no,
Graham
do
cry.
that.
don't. So we will see you shortly. Hello, everyone. I hope you got some snacks, got some water, and, you're having a good night. We are back. I hope you didn't, leave, because I told you I'd cry, and I'm already there. Just kidding. I know none of you left. I kept my eyes out. But, we are once more in the Crystal Caverns with Bheldus, Maggie, River, and Garis in the Hall of Echoes.
And playing flute, and song's over. So yeah, that was from the grasslands, Reggie.
Bheldus, you can't hear them, can you?
Sorry, were you trying to get my attention?
They're talking to you.
Stop
On the
and
wind.
listen.
Is there anything I can do? I don't know how to help you here.
Who's somebody across the way? I mean, what?
Them, Reggie, and all of the rest are. When you played, when we came in, I could hear their last words, but when you played, they were talking to you. They're not dead.
Oh. And I will actively stop and try very hard to listen. In fact, I will get closer to Reginald, ear towards mouth, trying to listen.
Notably, Karis is at some point sort of even stumbled away from the statues and the wind, and is sort of holding her hands deliberately under her arms, just away from all of that. She looks spooked. She doesn't like it. But she seems fine to just stand there and let Bheldus do his thing. But yeah, she doesn't look great.
Reginald doesn't look like they're talking. Looks like a statue. Bheldus. If you'd like to make me another perception check, you may do so. If there is anything anyone is doing to help bolster that roll.
What were they saying?
When you played, they were asking you to help them. Let me try. I don't. Karis, River, do either of you sing, play an instrument, or hum?
Yes, but I'm not sure where this is leading.
Oh, don't worry. I'm an excellent singer.
Just gave them a straight smack and was let's let Rue do that.
Oh, yeah, Rue absolutely will sing.
Do you know Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star? Do we all know Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star?
Is it really necessary to sing? All
As
of
a
us?
group, together on 1, 2.
No.
Twinkle, twinkle.
Okay.
Maggie will start singing with just a horrible voice, but a very gentle, clearly has sung this as a lullaby before with absolutely zero musical skill whatsoever, and just sort of looks at you while she's singing and points to her ear.
All right, Bheldus, this is a DC 25 perception check. If you would like to use a crit, I'm giving you advantage on the roll because people are helping you. And I just got an anonymous donation on PayPal that says, "Guidance, please." So I have a little 1d4 for you that I will add to your roll if you so choose to.
What's your perception bonus?
It's not enough to hit a DC 25 on a
Shit.
on a nat
It's a
20.
3. It's a 3.
Well, then you have, if you have guidance, you have a half a chance to do it.
I absolutely do have a half a chance. Yeah. I will. I will humor Maggie, and I will try my hardest to listen on this. I will burn my last crit.
I love this group in comparison to the other Tuesday group where I cannot finagle any crits out of them. All right, let's roll that guidance. Okay.
Well, I got a 23, so at this point, I'm just kind of.
50-50 chance to get the extra +2.
Yep.
No, more than that.
Bheldus. As the song comes to an end, the wind sweeps through the cavern, the chimes of the crystal forming almost notes pulled from all assortment of instruments, whether it is chimes, cymbals, pianos, strings, harps, flutes. And you hear Stone Song.
Jesus! Holy shit! Oh, what? It talked. It talked. That was Reginald. I think that was Reginald.
It was, yes, they talked. All of them, they talked. All these years when you've been speaking to them, they've been hearing you.
Okay. I have an idea. And blah 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 blah. Okay, cool. I like how this works. Pull out the flute. I still have the flute. I'm gonna grab some of the dust. I'm gonna take some of that rag I used earlier to dust off Reginald. I'm gonna take that. And this is okay, cool. I'm gonna take that little bit of dust and I'm gonna sniff it. I'm gonna breathe it in. Just like I've done every other time I've done enhanced abilities. Same exact. Oh, cool.
Harry is getting the same image that I'm getting.
So, and I'm gonna start playing the song again.
Okay.
And with that song, I'm casting the spell Dream. And I'm attempting to enter Reginald's dream with a message. If they're awake, the spell doesn't work. But if they're dreaming, I can send a message.
I think that's where we're going to end tonight's session. I think that is the perfect way to end this session as...
Hello, talking.
Hello, it's me, Bheldus, this guy you've never met. I'm in your dreams talking to you. Hello, Reginald, I knew everything about you. But yeah, I think that is where we're going to end tonight's session because I didn't prepare for that.
Awesome.
So, I would love to hear 3 simple things from all of you. Who are you? Where can we find you? And what are some cool projects you're working on? I know some of you have some pretty cool ones.
I'll go first. I'll get it out of the way. Let's do it. Hi, I'm Mare. You can find me on Twitter at UrchMageOfDice. Besides this, my only other project right now is that I run a game of Invisible Sun over on Friends Who Roll Dice at Sundays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are 5 sessions in, so join us this coming weekend for session 6, where they have just met one of the big antagonists of the campaign, and its teeth. Someone casts a spell on the creature, on the person, to make their teeth talk and whisper one of their secrets. Yeah, each tooth grows a mouth and starts whispering for a split second. Welcome to the world of Invisible Sun.
That's horrifying. Great. Thanks,
Yeah.
I hate it.
You're welcome.
Cecil does
Hey,
not
everybody.
like that.
Hey, everybody. It's me, Kari. I played Karis today, and it was great. You can find me here every other Tuesday, or you can find me here every Friday, or, some of the Fridays, we're sort of in, liminal space, whatever. Sometimes I'm here, sometimes I'm not. Maybe sometimes you gotta squint a little harder to just get a glimpse. But I'm there. I play Israel Lee, Fate Pack Warlock, and it's great, and you should go see it, the Goldshine Investigations. Otherwise, I don't exist, except for certain very specific places. Necessary plug. I do still play Guild Wars 2. You can still find me there and hang out. And cool notes for everyone. There's a beta week going on today where you can test out the Siege Turtle. We have Siege Turtles, and they have cannons. And you can get your friend to man the cannons on your Siege Turtle and conquer the world. So if you want to try that out, you think that sounds cool, even for like a day, Guild Wars 2 is free, and the beta event is free. So have some fun. Take a moment, experience some new fun gameplay.
With that, I'm Bob. I previously played Bheldus Stonesong. I'm now leaving this game entirely because I have to go play Guild Wars and ride on Siege Turtles because that just sounds way too awesome to neglect in my life. Holy cow. Otherwise, you can find me at Twitter at Cyclor One Eye, and that's for interesting, fun projects. Hey, college semester ends coming up, so study hard, kids. Have fun with those projects.
Hi, everybody. My name is Graham, or Graham Crackers. I'm going to hit you with a high level of enthusiasm. And I'm going to pass it to Jen.
Okay.
Sorry. I can go after you. That's fine.
Yeah,
I just want to get
I'm going to be your hype man this time. I'm going to hype you up. You can find me here on my own channel, which is right here, Twitch TV Graham Crackers with a Z. You can find me on Twitter, Graham Crackers with a Z1. You can find me here every Friday and Tuesday and Monday. Mondays we play MMOs like Guild Wars 2. Oh my god, on top of Siege Turtles, there's also new faces and new hairstyles for every race that came out today. So if you want to look dope AF, as the kids say, you can now. But outside of that, you can find me all over the internet doing random wonky things, usually saying pss, 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 I love you to people. Outside of that, I get to play with a lot of really wonderful and fantastic people. Fantastic people like the one, the only, the hip happening, bestest person named Jen. If you haven't heard about Jen, you're about to, so buckle the heck up.
You just killed Jen, so now Jen can't speak.
Jen
that was
is so
awesome.
cool, she has her own command.
There you go.
Type it correctly.
I'm Jen. You can find me at Quixote Jen, but more importantly, you can find a project that I'm working on at Play Cancer Away on Twitter. Really cool stuff coming up soon. We're going to be giving people the opportunity to join our Discord. We exist specifically to support cancer patients and former patients and give us all a chance to be able to play with each other off stream. Interesting stream stuff coming up in 2022. If you are a supporter or a cancer patient or a former cancer patient, join up with us. We would really, really love to play with you and just give you some joy to be able to have together. Also, I will say, Giving Tuesday, there's still a few hours left in Giving Tuesday. So if you have anywhere that, if you have the ability, and if you don't, that is what it is. But if you have anywhere that you want to donate, go for it. If you want to look for some cool cancer charities that specifically address the LGBTQ community, people of color, health equity, we have a great list on our Twitter right now. So come find Play Cancer Way and donate if you can.
There we go. I didn't capitalize it.
Hi.
I didn't capitalize it. That's why it didn't work. I was like, where? What? I know I have it. But, we're gonna raid someone, because I feel like I've been slacking in the raiding department. So, buy me some time, players, while I look for a place to raid.
All right, what I need everyone in chat to do right now, get your pitchforks, get your torches. We're gonna raid. And when you get there, what do? One, we spam them with emotes and cheers and chats. Two, we say nice things. If you haven't followed whoever we're about to raid, you start following them because halfway decent, right? Why else would we raid them?
Sucks to be you.
You make sure you hydrate. Have you done that yet? I'm looking at you. Yeah, you. Get that water. Take a drink right now. Go it. Do it. Otherwise, change your socks. Wet feet suck.
toe jam. All right.
All right, we're gonna raid Gilding Light, who are actually literally on episode 1 of a new campaign. So let's get them hyped. So, get your water, and then we're gonna spam a whole bunch of Graham love. If you don't have the Graham emotes, you do not have to sub. I ain't about that. I'm never gonna tell you to sub. It's appreciated, but you don't have to. If you are not subbed, just spam some hearts. Maybe say, pss, 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 I love you. Maybe, yeah, that's our go-to message, is we're gonna say, pss, 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 love you.
Yeah.
All right, so until next time, I hope you all stay happy, stay healthy, and stay hydrated. It's a scary world out there, but it's less scary when you have friends, and everyone here is your friend. So we will see you soon. Take care. Don't do anything we wouldn't do.
Dry socks.
Yes.